over years of being indulged in the comforts of the modern Western society, of video games, social media, and watching content on YouTube, led to a disappointing disgrace on 14, 15, and 16-year-old Keanu, who are all quite frankly dumbasses. And in this video, we're gonna talk about why self-improvement is a necessary thing for the young men of today who have indulged in the Western comforts over years and have no father figure to get them out of it. Ultimately though, when I looked back at 14, 15, and 16-year-old me, I was quite frankly a huge dumbass, and ultimately though, I just really wish though I was not indulging in any of these crap that I oh man, I don't know what to say. Yeah, until towards the end of 16-year-old me, I came across this guy called Hamza, and I constantly mention him in his videos, but he genuinely did change me as a person. But I watched this video called 2 Weeks Can Change Your Life, as well as this video right here. But if your attention span is so up from scrolling on social media for hundreds of hours, like how mine was as 15 and 16-year-old me, then that video is unfortunately not going to be for you. And I literally started watching them in February of this year, and I implemented what this guy has said in his videos, and he practically changed everything for it. And the same can happen for you if you go over. And what he talks about ultimately in both of those videos is that he says that that improving your mental health will make all these better choices, and he is correct on that matter. And I think I agree with him due to the fact that once I have improved mental health, it made me unable to make the better choices. When you change it in two ways, and that's, of course, mindfulness and gratitude. And the way of how I changed it with mindfulness is that I downloaded this app called Medito in around almost a year ago. But the thing of what went on when I did start using it is that my attention span was so f***ed up to the point where, and 3 minutes is the lowest amount of time that you can spend on, that you can do any kind of session for any kind of session they have available, and it's the lowest time they have on the app. But I will tell you this thing, from someone who has attention span of someone who scrolled on social media for hundreds of hours, after like 5 to 10 seconds, it felt like literally forever has passed by. And I literally, oh my days, man. When I literally go back to that moment, it felt like forever has passed by. But the thing you have to understand though is that saying that, oh, I tried to meditate and it didn't clear my mind of thoughts, and that's like saying a 300-pound person going to the gym for the very first time and running on the treadmill for a few minutes and them saying, oh, all this bulginess did not go away. Well, how do you expect it all to go away if you've been eating that food for years? And it's the same thing with mindfulness, and that is a 10-second session, just one 10-second session is not going to cut away hundreds of hours of unmindful scrolling on social media. And ultimately, though, the moment I started implementing the tactics of mindfulness and gratitude, I've been making the better choices in life ultimately, and I felt better mentally and physically, and I was physically more capable of taking on the harder choices as well. And it is something that you should start as well, because trust me when I say this thing, you've had no male role model in your life that will help guide you to where you need to be to become a man. And so what you're looking at here is another male role model who will talk about masculinity and will follow the traits that Hamza went down. And before you think, it's gay to do that, shut the Jesus, you almost broke my camera there. Like, shut the up, you blue-pilled dumbasses that think that. Because guess what? If that was not a problem, would we be seeing a huge rise in young men having huge mental health fucked up problems in their life? Would we see young men playing 16 hours a day of video games? Would we see young men scrolling on social media and looking at ass for hundreds of hours every week? Because chances are we won't be seeing that if all this blue-pilled stuff is okay, but it's practically not okay at all. And this is coming from someone who's terrible at speaking on camera, and he's been terrible on speaking on camera for over 3 years. For someone who legitimately started creating artwork and then went to being a dumbass and playing video games for upwards of 2 years, for upwards of 3 to 6 hours every single day. Would we be seeing that? Can you answer that question? Come on. If video games had no side effects, would you be making that excuse of saying, oh, I only play 1 hour a day? Like, shut the f up, Dumbo. And this is the majority of guys. And if you are literally that one that does go on self-improvement ultimately, though, it's probably going to be the most unbelievable thing ever, because of the fact that, like, what I see from my own eyes is the fact that you're just one person competing, and it is a competition to improve, because let's face it this way, you're just one person competing against hundreds of other scientists that are trying to find out new ways to addict junk food and to addict the food that you eat. All these hundreds of nerds, all these millions of nerds and senior executives in the Silicon Valley are finding out new ways to addict you to social media, and they're also going to find out new ways to make it harder and harder to go on self-improvement and easier to indulge in this crap. And ultimately, the biggest reason as to why you should start now is ultimately due to the fact that the moment it becomes so hard to go on self-improvement and so easy to indulge in the comfortable Western stuff ultimately that our Western society does. There's no turning back from that point. You're gonna be trapped with every single depressed person basically for eternity, and there's gonna be no way out. And this is the ultimate reason as to why I started, because with what the bloody Western society is taking us down ultimately, fuck man. Alright, I've just came back after a brutal leg day at the gym today. But anyway, it has gotten very dark now, so I have turned the light on here. But I ultimately think, though, the purpose of getting on self-improvement, ultimately, though, is to grow as a man. And there are multiple reasons as to why you should be going on it. The first thing is, though, is that you've been leveling up hundreds of hours on... You've been leveling up for hundreds of hours your characters in the virtual world playing video games. And you've also been making millions and millions, if not billions, if not trillions, on video games and collected hundreds of gems on video games. And that's what I did earlier with this YouTube channel, of the fact that I was showing you specifically how to make money in the virtual world instead of making it in the real world. And I fundamentally wasted so much time there about that instead of working on a business to actually make money in that space, instead of investing my time in the virtual world. Like with Hungry Shark World and Evolution, I used to practically show you off to. I was leveling up my sharks and I was gaining XP in the virtual world instead of leveling myself up in the real world, such as leveling up my strength at the gym, leveling up my speed by actually sprinting hard, leveling up my skill set right here. And there's an endless amount of skills you can level up in the real world, whereas in the virtual world, you only play one game and you have limited skills that you can level up on there. And as well as that, you can make money in the real world instead of investing hundreds of hours into some virtual world to make money. And that is fundamentally what you've been doing for hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours. And it's so horrible that I've been doing this for over a year ago, and you've been scrolling hundreds of hours on social media and comparing your life, comparing how depressing your life is over everyone else's, which fucks with your mind very hugely. And it would be the best if you could reduce the amount of social media you actually consume. And if you do use it to text, ultimately, then fucking unfollow every single bullshit individual that is not your friend. But I think the best way to go about it all would be to fuck social media altogether. And if you are ever gonna text anyone, create a Discord server and invite your friends onto that Discord server instead. And ultimately, you've also been indulging in junk food for years on end, which gained you which gained you the 25% body fat percentage and gained you no respect from anyone because of the fact that you made such bad, easy choices. And all that stuff, honestly, are such bad, easy choices. And trust me when I say this thing, and this is the reason why you're not gonna want to keep doing this. After like probably a month of it, I felt depressed. I felt even suicidal. And I'm not exaggerating when I mean this. Like, do you want to know how everything was like a year ago? Pretty much a normal day in the life would be I wake up, I grab my phone, I go on social media, I scroll for 8 hours every single day on there. I'd walk down, make a coffee, and put some crazy. I put like two tablespoons, not teaspoons, tablespoons worth of these coffee granules into just a single cup. And I'd also get so much sugar into that coffee as well. And then I'd also get chocolate digestives around with it. And I'd put like 3 of them in just one cup. And I was indulging in that, and I would basically consume those every single day. And I'd scroll on social media and I'd literally get my phone, open up TikTok and Instagram, and then I'd look at some other jacked guys that are destroying my mental health because of the fact that I have my life compared to his. And I would scroll on social media, I'd scroll on TikTok for upwards of like around 2 hours in what felt like a brief period. And from that point, my life just went down and down and down and down to the point where my life became meaningless. But yes, I deserved to be in that situation based on what I was indulging in. And ultimately, you can make that change today. It doesn't start tomorrow, it starts today. And if you never make that change, you're gonna be one of those men that will fall down me and below me, and you'll be taking antidepressants almost every single day. You'd be playing video games for 16 hours every day. You'd be scrolling on social media basically for eternity. You'd get shit quality sleep. And you'd be working a 9 to 5 job that you'd dislike. And this is not something that I'm intending to get out of my life. And this is a path I could have taken. And you'll be getting grades at school as well. And ultimately, this is something that I faced up until I came across that guy right there on screen. And anyway, make sure you do the hard work regardless of your feelings.